Nobody expected any shipping to be lost to enemy action this far south, so it came as a complete surprise. The William Dawes was sailing from Adelaide to Brisbane with a cargo of military vehicles in July 1942, and she was torpedoed by a Japanese submarine. They thought the Japanese were miles away, but they didn't know about these huge long-range submarines called the E-class. The Japanese submarines were 3,000 tonnes, so they were over 4 times as big as a German U-boat. They were big enough to carry seaplanes, and there were 3 of them active off the New South Wales coast in 1942. And E11 was the one that sank the William Dawes. Sometime during the night, they struck the stern of the ship with a torpedo, which basically blew out the engine room and all of the steering, so the ship began steering in a large circle. Now, observers on shore saw this, and they raised the alarm and told people that there was a ship in trouble. She was on fire. The submarine fired a second torpedo, which blew a large hole in the side of the ship, and she started to sink about 15 miles off the coast of Merimbula. There was a crew on board of, I think, about 30. They were all Americans. About 5 men were killed, unfortunately, but the rest of the crew survived, and a flotilla of rescue vessels went out very, very quickly and picked up the survivors, and they were brought into Merimbula. The quick-wittedness and generosity of the local people also deserves to be remembered. They really stretched out a hand to people in need and did their best for these people. In fact, the Tathra people had been told that they were being brought in there, and they'd got together and provided all of this food and drink and everything. And when they found they were going to Merimbula, they were a bit miffed. There was a gentleman called Bill Minton, who was a signaller on board the William Dawes, and early in this century he was brought out here by the RSL Club and the Historical Society to meet the people who had sort of helped rescue him years before. Apparently that was a very emotional time. It's still there. It's been classed as a war grave because there's a possibility that there are still dead crewmen on board. It shows that no matter how far you were from the war, you were still in it.